Hey there. A couple weeks ago, one of my viewers watched a video of my grow tent and noticed that there was a lot of mounted orchids and kind of posed the question. I don't remember exactly what it was, but why do I seem to prefer growing mounted orchids or mounted plants in general? And well, one thing is that I think they just look really, really cool. Um, we'll do some close-up pictures. It's hard to do in this format. But this is a Dendrobium rindjaniense from Lombok Islands. It's incredible. I just don't think that would look quite as intense in a pot, but I will go over all the reasons why I like mounted plants, why some plants don't really do well mounted, and what kind of conditions you should have when you mount your plants. In tropical forests, it is common to see orchids and other plants growing on trees. Mounted plants mimic this growth habit. All mounts are variations of this setup. A pad of moss is usually tied to the bark or stick, and the orchid is tied onto it. I prefer mounts for many reasons, but aesthetics is first on the list. This Dendrobium rindjaniense looks very natural, as does this Diplocolobium species. I really like the natural presentation of mounted plants and flowers. This plant has thickened stems to store water and food. The roots are traveling up the mount, looking for more. Some orchids are hard to imagine keeping in a pot, at least for very long. Mounts can be hung on vertical surfaces or hung above benches. This can greatly increase the number of plants grown in a space. Mounted plants can and should be watered frequently. This is good since I like to water my babies a lot. Mounts need consistent, high humidity, good water, air movement, and appropriate temperatures to thrive. Trichosalpinx Camellia penthes likes moist roots and dry leaves, so I water from the top of the mount and let the water flow underneath. It is nice to be able to see the entire plant, roots and all, at a glance. There are a few hidden problems with mounted plants. Dendrobium tannii goes semi-dormant before new roots emerge. Then the flower bracts appear on bare canes. Dendrobium primulinum does the opposite. It emerges from its dry rest with flower buds and new stems appearing before new roots emerge. Beautiful. This is a classic type to mount. Leptotes polytichinoi has leathery leaves and roots that seal moisture inside. Very succulent. The opposite of the succulent type are the more difficult ones to maintain well on a mount. Scaphocephalum squarteifolium, with its delicate young leaves, is not one I would think to mount. But why not try? Mounts aren't a forever home, usually. Here a Bulbophyllum flavidiforum is keen to find some purchase as the rhizome extends into the air. This Dendrobium gonzalezii is in a very active growth phase. It is grown on the cooler side, right next to the humidifier. Eventually this Mediocalcar stigii will need to be trimmed back to the mount, and new mounts made with the pieces. High humidity is essential for these smaller seedlings, as they dry out quickly and there isn't much plant to store water with. This Bulbophyllum treshii was tiny at first, and now is growing well. Sometimes you never see many roots, just a moss mound that the new growths emerge from. Likewise for this tiny Dendrobium elaticolineum. Even Phalaenopsis can be mounted. This Phalaenopsis high society is pretty happy. I mounted it because it barely grew in a pot. Younger phales, like this Phalaenopsis tetraspis, establish themselves on mounts much faster than more mature ones. The roots adapt well. This wild thing is Pleurothallus rowleyi. It is a good candidate for a mounting experiment. It already grows in every direction imaginable. So mounts. On the pro side, they love to be watered, so if you love to water, great. You could use spaces not usually used for plants like vertical surfaces. You can see all of the plant at once, easy to gauge the health. They're aesthetically pleasing and a natural way to grow, and a good solution for those rambling, scrambling plants. On the con side, high and consistent humidity is essential to thrive on mounts, and that can be difficult to achieve. Daily watering may not work for some lifestyles, and that's understandable.